Every century, history rhymes. The 1870s, the 1970s, the 2000s, each time, credit, land, and speculation reach a breaking point, and the system resets. And now, in 2025, the same 100-year pattern that predicted every major boom and bust for 2 centuries is flashing again, pointing to 2026 as the next turning point. So in this video, first I'll break down the 100-year pattern and why it keeps repeating across generations. Secondly, we'll zoom in to how the 100-year cycle fits and aligns with the current signs, signals, and other cycles. And finally, we'll look ahead to what this means for 2026 and how investors can prepare before the crowd catches on. Now, if you're new here, I'm Ace. I have a bachelor degree in finance and equity investment, and I built a 400k plus portfolio in just under 5 years by following Buffett's value principles and studying economic cycles that repeat across centuries. And I didn't start with a lot of money. I started with curiosity. I wanted to understand why markets move the way they do. Why do markets always rise to incredible heights and then collapse when everyone least expected? So I went deep. Through over 200 years of data, from Samuel Banner's work in 1875 to Ray Dalio's big debt crises to the 18-year real estate cycle mapped by Fred Harrison to the decade cycle. And when I found the 100-year rhythm and cycle, everything started to make sense. History doesn't repeat exactly, but it rhymes with precision that's almost frightening. The same emotions, the same leverage, the same debt level, the same blind optimism, just with new names and new technology. Now, a quick disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. Everything I share here is only my personal opinion for education and entertainment. Always do your own research before investing. Point 1. The 100-year pattern of boom and bust. Now, before we look at the 100-year pattern through history, we need to understand why things actually repeat the same way every 100 years. Now let's look at the legendary trader W.T. Gann. He's one of the most accurate market forecasters of the early 1900s who made roughly around $50 million in the early 90s, which is the equivalent of $1.8 billion right now in 2025. And he built his entire systems around the power of anniversaries. He believed that every 100 years, the markets, they echo their past because human behavior and emotion, they reset every generation. So every 100 years, people forget what exactly happened the generation before. Now, he even demonstrated that a market top on June 5, 1990 came just one day after June 4, 1890 high, a perfect 100 years apart. Now, to him, this was not coincidence. It was proof of a larger natural order in the world. He has shown from time to time this 100-year cycle how crises and innovations always appear 100 years later the exact same way. For example, between 1814 and 1822, America suffered crop failures, war, and epidemics. 100 years later, between 1918 and 1922, the world faced famine, influenzas, and political upheaval. Second example, in 1819, the first steamship crossed the Atlantic. Now, 100 years later, in 1919, the British airship R-34 made the first Atlantic flight. Now, as you can see, every century, the same themes pretty much return: progress and panic, invention and exhaustion. And that's because every century is roughly one full human lifespan. It's long enough for the generation that remembers the crises to kind of disappear away. And once that memory fades, once that generation goes away, speculation, excess, and overconfidence take root and reappear again. And over the last 2 centuries, the 100-year rhythm has quietly governed how economies rise and fall. And the best cycle researchers have tracked it through land prices, credit booms, and social mood, and the results are chillingly consistent. For example, let's look at the years 1870 and 1970, 100 years apart. Both of these years marked the end of an era of speculation, growth, and the start of a very harsh economic correction. In the 1870s, railroad and land bubbles burst, and a century later, the oil shock and stagflation crushed the market. Second example, between the 1873 and 1973, also 100 years apart, Both of these years, they saw property prices peak and flatline before the recession. The 1873 panic triggered a decade-long recession, and the 1973 collapse ended the post-war boom. Now let's look at the third examples, 1890 and 1990. Both of these crashes occurred when financial institutions kind of buckled and went downhill. The Baring Brothers crisis in 1890s and the savings and loan crisis in 1990 each ended their respective boom right beforehand. And the same 100-year cycle occurred again between 1901 and 2001. Now this is when the innovation bubbles popped. In 1901, it was the rail and industrial speculation, and in 2001, it was the dot-com bubble, dot-com mania a century later. Now, and when you look at 1907 and 2007, both were credit panics created by the real estate market. One ushered in and created the Federal Reserve. The other sparked the global financial crisis. And then you have 1920 and 2020. The 1920 Midland cycle crash was right after the Spanish flu, and that whole thing induced lockdowns, similarly to what we had exactly in 2020 with the COVID crash. And in 1926 and 2026, each represents the final act of the land cycle where debt and speculation reach their max and climax before resetting the whole market. And that, my friend, is the 100-year land and credit cycle arc, a century-long pulse embedded in the economy's DNA. Now, before we dive into the next section, a quick note. If you do enjoy these deep dives into historical cycles and want to see how I actually use them to position for the next major market reset, subscribe to my newsletter, link in description. Point 2. How the 100-year cycle actually aligns with the current signs and other cycles out there. Now, the 100-year rhythm, it doesn't move alone. It's the higher up, the overall, the macro pulse, the one sitting all the way above all the smaller repeating waves and cycle. For example, the decade cycle and the 18-year real estate cycle. Let's start with the first one, the decade cycle, and see how they kind of link up together with the 100-year cycle. Now, the decade cycle is what W. Gann calls the 1/10 of the 100-year rhythm. Well, because decade is 10 and 100 years is 100. He found that years ending in 7 often, now for each year from 0 to all the way to 9, they have a different meaning. But for this one, let's focus on the years coming up soon with 2026 and 2027. W. Gann has found that the years ending in 7 often brings corrections. So for example, 1837, 1857, 1877, 1907, 1937, 1987, and 2007. And he also found that years ending in 9 often mark the very, very high or speculative highs. So for example, 1869, 1899, 1929, and 1999, and very recently, 2009. And then years ending in 0 or 1 often represents recessions and big depressions. Now these 10-year signs, they are usually smaller harmonics and smaller signs inside the bigger, longer wave being the 100-year cycle. Then you have the second cycle being the 18-year real estate cycle. It's a bit bigger, a bit longer, around 18 years, hence the name. Now the 18-year land cycle is the sub-cycle among the 100-year cycle. It translates all the long arcs, right, into tangible booms and busts in land and credit. So you just imagine small cycles of 18-year cycle within the bigger cycle of the 100-year cycle. So every 18 years or so, rising land values and credit expansion leads to an inevitable collapse. And we have seen this in 1929, 1974, 1991, 2008, and now building again toward 2026 and 2027. And this cycle has predicted all of them. And finally, we have Ray Dalio's big debt cycle on top of all of these smaller patterns. And that helps make the picture so much clearer. Now, Ray Dalio, if you don't know, is one of the most successful and is the founder of the biggest hedge fund in the world. And Ray Dalio's research has shown that every major financial empire, from the Dutch in the 1600s to the British to the American system today, follows a roughly 75 to 100-year cycle. And the cycle all begins with productivity and innovation built through debt expansion and speculative euphoria, and ends in deleveraging and restructuring, which is the reset phase. And right now, we're seeing multiple red flags that are echoing all the frameworks and all the cycles I just talked about reaching the peak. Here are some of them. For example, we're having a record high Shiller PE ratio, and we're currently at the 2000 internet bubble level of high valuation. Now, if you don't know, the Shiller PE ratio actually tells you how overvalued the market is by comparing the total market cap over the earnings as well. Now, we're also seeing record debt levels and growing interest burdens, where the US national debt has crossed $37 trillion in 2025, the highest ever, and it's continuing to increase. We're also seeing rising debt servicing costs, and that's because right now there's so much debt floating at variable rate or rolling over that it makes the cost to service the debt takes a very large share of the revenue for the US government. And UBS is already saying that the US already has one of the highest debt service burdens in the developed world. Now, the last cycle I want to talk about is the 150-year-old cycle called the Barron's cycle. And this cycle has predicted every single crash in the last 150 years, and is pointing at the next crash being 2026. Now, looking at all these cycles I've talked about, they all align together, and they are now all converging between 2026 and 2027. And you can see history doesn't just rhyme, it accelerates fast. Point 3. What it means for investors as 2026 approaches. Now, every time these cycles peaked at the same time and all together, the same scary pattern emerges. You would always see confidence, very high confidence, turns to even more and overconfidence. You would see credit going to fragility. And you would see a very high level of debt, which turns into a very fragile economy that can collapse any single time. Now, we saw it in 1929, in 2007 GFC, and now again as global debt, asset prices of the stock market, the real estate market, and speculation all over the world reaching all-time highs. Now, if the pattern does hold, the next few years could mark the final phase, and what the land 18-year land cycle calls the winner's curse of the land cycle, when speculative euphoria pushes values to the extremes just before the peak and the reset and the crash. Now, for us, this doesn't mean panic, it means awareness. Because when everyone's chasing growth, the smart money changes quietly into safety, into low leverage, and into high cash position. And Warren Buffett, the best investor in the world, has said it the best. Be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful. So here's the picture. The 100-year cycle, the 10-year, the debt cycle, the 18-year cycles are all converging at the same point, just as they did before every single time. For example, 1907, 1927, and 2007. Each time, it's always land, credit, and speculation that reaches very high level before the big reset that has reshaped the world. And now that very same signal is flashing again. The question is not whether the cycle exists, it's whether you're positioned and whether you're prepared for when it actually turns. Now, if you do want the full breakdowns of these cycles, these indicators that I track before every major shift and reset, subscribe to my newsletter down below in the description. And tell me again in the comment section, do you think this 100-year rhythm will hold again, or are we about to witness a new chapter in the history's pattern?